Hi everyone, my name is Jasmine and I'm a youth ambassador at Altruist Technologies and Aroda Psychological Services. And I'm here to talk to you guys about, I'm pretty sure you must have guessed it, hockey? Well, no, I'm here in lieu of National Sports Day, which we celebrate on the birth anniversary of Major Dhyan Chand Singh, who was an Olympian hockey player of India. He's won multiple gold medals for us at Olympics of 1928, 32, and 36. So it's very safe to say that he is a very accomplished man. But since we're on the topic of sports and we are psychology based associations, we thought that we'll do a video informing all of you about what sports psychology is all about. Drum roll. But before I even dive into what sports psychology is all about, I want to discuss with you guys why sports psychology should even be discussed. Why is it that we should be investing our time in it? That's the big question, I guess. So consider a situation wherein there is an athlete who is really stressed about the multiple assignments they've got to do, and they've also got to attend the training, and their coach is constantly pressurizing them to come for all their coaching sessions. How would they manage this? Well, a sports psychologist would help them prioritize their tasks and manage their time better. That's the difference between the approach of a coach and a sports psychologist. Consider another situation wherein the athlete is struggling about getting motivated. I mean, it's really tough getting up at 7 a.m. for training every morning. So I sympathize with you. Um, so yeah, the coach would be like, they would be working on external motivation, like you need to get these many medals. You have to become the captain of the team. Things like that. That's gonna be how they motivate the athletes. However, for a sports psychologist, it's going to be very intrinsically motivated. They want to unravel what the athlete's passions are, what their goals are. Why do they even want to pursue a career in athletics? So again, that's where the difference comes from a training in psychology. Another third situation, if I really have to give, would be failure management. After you fail in a particular match, it's really hard to be confident about the next one. A coach is going to be like, put in all your effort in the practice so that you can perform much better in the next match. However, from a sports psychologist perspective, you should be working on confidence and resilience building skills, and also things like mindfulness that really help you ground yourself in reality and work on your skills in the present. So, this is why we actually need sports psychologists, because there is a significant difference in the way they can deal with difficult situations. Now, coming to what sports psychology is all about. I mean, from the examples that I've given you, you probably would have guessed it. It's actually about mental preparation for the athlete. It goes from things like confidence building, performance management, anxiety, stress, and failure management as well. So, they would help you after you've recouped from a surgery to setting smarter goals based on your passions and values in life. Similarly, they would help you with things like maintaining a consistent exercise regime, not with the planning of the regime per se, but how to maintain it consistently, how to stay committed to it. And there are multiple stakeholders in sports. Behind every athlete are sponsors, parents, coaches, like I said, multiple stakeholders. So there should be a team outlook there, and that's what the sports psychologists help us with, right? So this is super essential, and a sports psychologist has a lot to do. Now, like every other field in psychology, there are sports psychology researchers, and then there are sports psychology practitioners. From the perspective of a psychology practitioner, per se, there are a couple of misconceptions in this field, like there are in every other field of psychology. Um, Specifically here, though, Sports psychologists are people who believe in analyzing the athlete as a holistic person. They don't believe in the idea of labeling. They don't want to say that this person has depression or anxiety or this kind of an eating disorder. They're very different from clinical psychologists in that sense. They don't consider their clients as patients. They're athletes who are there for skill building, for skill building and performance management, basically. So, and therefore, their principles are based a lot in positive psychology. They want the athletes to figure out what their abilities are, what their skills are, how do you develop the skills that you want in your life, and how exactly can you use all your potential to reach your best self. That's where sports psychology roots from. It's positive psychology. And you would have probably guessed by now that this man has been reappearing in this video up until now so many times. And that's because he's a very big leading figure in positive psychology. His name is Martin Seligman. You may also know him as the father of positive psychology. He's the guy who went like, guys, we've been discussing too much about disorders, too much about what's wrong with humans. However, let's get over it and let's start working on what's great about us. What are the abilities that help us reach our best self? That is exactly what Martin Seligman wanted to work with, right? So there are a lot of positive psychology techniques and theoretical concepts that both psychologists use in their daily practice. So yeah, I'm quickly going to be going over that to get you guys equipped to how sports psychologists use psychology, the empirical studies in their actual practice. Okay, so the first one is the idea of reaching your best possible self, as Seligman hypothesized. So this lies in finding your strengths. As a player, what are your strengths? But also outside of the sport, what are your strengths as a human being? So there's a very famous test called Gallup Strength, which positive psychologists often use in order to understand the strengths of the client. Also, there are values that you need to understand. These values that really guide your motivation. They guide why you're actually in this industry, why you're playing this particular sport. So, uh, like you can sense, a person's whole career would be based on their values. And then, like I said, your motivation is going to be based on this set of values. Like I talked in the beginning of this video, it's all about internal motivation. External motivation can only take you so long, and on this really long and I would say Tardar's road. So yeah, motivation is super important, especially internal motivation, and it's based on your strengths and values, and that's what a positive slash sports psychologist would help you figure out. And with the knowledge that you've gained from all of these things, they would help you develop something that they call smarter goals. And it's an acronym for goals that are specific, meaningful, achievable, relevant, time bound. They are evaluative and engaging, and they help you readjust based on your progress and your achievements. So, setting goals according to this um, is really essential to reach your best possible self in the realm of your sport as well as outside of your career, right? The second most important thing is having a growth mindset, which differs very significantly from a fixed mindset. So, when you have a growth mindset, you're always open to new ideas, you're open to um, improving yourself, you're open to feedback. So that is super essential when you're an athlete because you will be getting a lot of feedback from your performance and from your coaches. So it's really essential that you have a growth mindset. mindset and that you're ready to change based on that. Having a growth mindset is really essential for um, having grit and resilience in you. So by grit, I would mean perseverance, that even after failure, you want to keep giving it a try again and again. And resilience is that ability to, get back on your feet once you've had a failed consequence. So both of them are very interlinked concepts, right? So grit and resilience is really essential, and it comes from your growth mindset. Um, and it's really, really important for failure management, for managing your stress, anxiety, and sports. Um, and the last one would be state of flow, and you can achieve that through mindfulness. So, state of flow is that particular state wherein you really don't get affected by what's happening and it just goes and it goes. This is really essential for anxiety management, especially when you use mindfulness techniques wherein you are taught how to ground yourself in the present. Um, Overthinking is a big issue. Thinking about failure is a big issue with that. So grounding yourself in the present and working on the physiology of your body through breathing techniques and stuff that forms a part of mindfulness based therapy. It's really essential for anxiety management. It's also very, very important for building your confidence again, through these particular techniques. If you're in the state of flow, obviously you're confident. But how do you actually build that? The person would be reminding the athlete continuously that they have got a lot of experience. So therefore, they are very, very equipped to do what they're doing. They deserve to be where they are. Those kinds of feelings, if they're instigated by the coaches and essentially by the person themselves, but also through the sports psychologist, um, that is something that has been proven to help the athletes a lot with confidence building. Another thing would be imagery. So before a competition, you would find a lot of athletes sitting and imagining what would happen during the match. So imagining that they would actually uh, win the tennis match, or they would reach the finish line in a certain number of seconds, so that they can actually win or achieve the goal that they have set. So imagining the goal, that's really essential. Another technique is self-talk. So what we in our usual language call pepping ourselves up, that's exactly what self-talk is. Telling yourself that yes, you can do it. You have practiced so much. I'm an amazing player. Things like that. These form a part of self-talk. It's really essential. Again, as a confidence building technique, and a lot of athletes. Another one is relaxing your whole body. This is certainly so linked with the idea of mindfulness, right? Um, Relaxing your whole body, physiological and mental relaxation, um, that we're trying to achieve here, so that the person goes into the competition in a relaxed state of mind and they're not worried about the consequences of failure or even success. It's about giving your best in that moment. And definitely positive feedback from everyone around you, and mostly from your coaches who've trained you, who are your authority figures. That really helps with confidence building as well, and it's really essential. And this is a really bad joke that I came up with, but if you tie everything in, it is all connected to reaching. The goal is to reach that best self, to reach that state of flow, to be able to manage your anxiety well. Yeah, so it all ties in together, and I think mindfulness is really important for sports psychology because it helps both the mind and the body. So that's really important. And I'm just going to quickly reiterate, there are, if you are planning to become a sports psychologist, for example, and you're working and with a client, and how do you know that you've achieved what you wanted to achieve with them? So these are probably certain things you would look out for. You should be able to see that they're confident, they build their resilience skills, that they're internally motivated and they're also self-motivated. So they're not dependent on someone else to motivate their own self. They're able to manage their stress well. They know what is it that causes them stress. They're aware about that. And definitely that they are very well aware about the preparation techniques that work for them. So preparation techniques like imagery, self-talk, and relaxation techniques that we previously talked about in this video. That that they should be aware of what works for them and what doesn't work for them. That is super essential. And if you've been working with an athlete and they're able to do all of this, you should see you should see that your work has been accomplished and that all the effort you've put into their progress, it's been worth it. It's definitely been worth it. There is a sad reality though, and that is that not a lot of people actually end up hiring psychologists, especially in the sports industry. Yes, it's gotten better over the past few years, I would say, maybe even a decade, but that's for developed countries. Um, Athletes like Kobe Bryant, Russell Wilson, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, it's known that they consult sports psychologists. But again, like I said, this is the condition in developed countries in the United States of America, where psychology research is so old. So it's not a surprise that this is pretty common there. However, in India, it's really hard for even famous people who have the privilege and resources to access a psychologist to actually go and ask for help because of all the stigma that's there in our society around mental health. However, I'm really glad that Virat Kohli last year in 2019 um, came to the media and he talked about how mental health plays such a big role for sports, um, for people who are athletes and who are in sports, and their whole field is so competitive that it definitely gets so stressful for them. I mean, I can't even imagine that. So definitely, he's talked very openly about having mental health issues and consulting a psychiatrist about them. Abhinav Bindra has been really open about his struggle with how he did not balance passion well and how that was super stressful for him. So again, do you see how this is all about goal setting and managing your priorities and creating that work-life balance? And a lot of it has got to do with failure management, which Anisha Padukone has also talked about. That she comes from a sports family, and it's really, really hard to work around failure management there, right? So that's one thing she's really had to work around. And yeah, again, to end on a positive note, I just hope that the sports associations in India realize that it is something that we should be investing in. It's worthy of our investment. Um, I wish that every team that India has in cricket, hockey, whichever sport we come up with, um, that all of us may have a sports psychologist with every team because that has been proven to significantly increase the performance levels of the whole team and individual athletes as well. I mean, if someone's helping you manage your stress and help you build confidence, help you maintain your exercise regime and training regime, that is definitely going to help, and you can specifically focus on your sport. So it's definitely worth the investment. Having said that, that would require us to reduce the stigma around mental health. Um, that is super essential for this to become a reality for us. Um,
Yeah. So, like I said, for that to become a reality for us, we need to reduce the stigma around mental health. And on that note, I would like to thank all of you for joining us on this video. It was such a fun task for me to make this, and I had a lot of fun making it. Hope to see you guys on the next video. And this was my first attempt at making a video for both the organizations. And if you guys have any suggestions, actually each and every suggestion um, would actually be really essential for us to grow and create better content for you guys. So yeah, drop a like or a comment and subscribe to both the channels, so that you can show us your support and also provide us with positive criticism.